What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Restoredmotions.com.
Introducing Astapro Allergy. Astapro is steroid-free, but like Flonase.
And ProChargeEV.com. Okay, y'all. Hope you have a great weekend. Great start to your Sunday. We went to Best Dress Ball last night. Great time as always. If you've never been, would highly recommend it. As I understand it, it's the biggest single night fundraiser annually in the state of Louisiana. They raise $1 million for the American Cancer Society in a night. It's pretty incredible. So, really cool thing. You get to put on fancy schmancy clothes and hence best dressed, and go down and have a big old party. So anyway, it's like part fashion show, part Mardi Gras ball, part dance party. Anyway, it's good stuff. If you ever get a chance to go, it's a great night. Got to see a lot of people, a lot of friends and colleagues, former classmates, as people you hadn't seen in a long time. So it's always a great way to get community together. So anyway, we went to that last night, had a great time. So let's see, LSU was on the practice field yesterday, and it is Saints game day. How about it, y'all? Saints game day today. Who dat? Saints against the Chiefs. That's great, man, but who are the Chiefs? Game one. Tell you a few things that I'm looking for certain today. The starters are going to play, so we're going to get to see Derek Carr. I mean, that's going to be the most interesting, number one, is just you get to see Derek Carr in a Saints uniform, get out there and sling it a little bit. You know, how long he plays probably depends on how much success they have. If they go out there in the first drive as a 9-play, 75-yard touchdown drive, my guess is that'll probably be a wrap. If they go 3 and out and look kind of bad doing it, my guess is they'll get another series. So Derek Carr, Trevor Penning is your starter at left tackle. So whether he's ready or not, they're throwing him into the deep end. So I'm really curious to see how he looks there. I'm always curious to see the rookies. So we'll get to see Brian Brzee. We'll get to see Isaiah Foskey, who really has been quiet. The Notre Dame edge rusher, been quiet so far this training camp. So, you know, some guys, when the lights come on, they turn it on. So I'll be interested to keep an eye on him. You know, we should get to see Kendre Miller today. Some of the new additions, I don't know if they've said if Jalen Smith is going to play in this ball game today, but you know, Saints just acquired Jalen Smith. He was at the first practice on Friday, and so we'll see if he's out there running around today. And then it's always interesting when you get to see Patrick Mahomes. So they're supposedly Mahomes going to play to some degree today. You know, and then there's things like there's a receiver battle. There's a battle for backup safety spots. There's you know, you're always interested in who's going to win roster spots on the offensive line. You know, you feel pretty good about who your first 6 are, but you're going to have swing linemen, and you know, who's going to win those spots is always kind of interesting. So a lot to keep an eye on. There doesn't seem to be, based on the depth chart, any question about the specialists. You know, we talked about Blake Grupe pushing Will Lutz at place kicker. Well, they released the depth chart, and there's no or next to them, which would solidify pretty much that Will Lutz is the guy and Grupe's the backup. So that doesn't appear to be a camp battle anymore. But, you know, we'll get to see the Saints play today, and looking forward to that for sure. So y'all fire away, questions, comments, you know the drill. Kelly Gross, good morning. Hey, Lenny Moss, what's up, man? Stepped off a curb yesterday that will result in my first ever trip to Brock today. Okay. After 4 years of watching, I finally get to support one of your sponsors. Well, I'm sorry you stepped off the curb. And I would assume that means you rolled your ankle. But it's the great part about Brock. The after-hours clinic is a great alternative to the ER. They can do everything from x-rays and all your scans and everything you need. So let me know how it goes, Lenny. Hope your foot, ankle, knee, shin, whatever you might have hurt there is doing okay. And hope y'all are doing good, man. Tribute Carter, Raymond, good morning. Wendell Norman, D. Johnson, good morning. Taylor Hudson, good morning, Matt. So glad football's back on TV. Yeah, man. How about yesterday? I don't know if anybody watched any of it, but the Panthers played yesterday, and so we got to see Bryce Young in an NFL uniform for the first time, and Carolina got shut out. So you had, where was Saturday? Here it is. So the Jets beat the Panthers 27-0. Bryce Young in the game was 4 out of 6 for 21 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked one time. Matt Corral played the bulk of the game, but not. I think you don't really overreact to the preseason results. It's more, how players play and how they look. So, but I'm sure there will be a great overreaction to that with Carolina. I hope it means they stink. But then again, Green Bay beat Cincinnati 36-19. I think Cincinnati's going to be a little better than that. And I don't know that Green Bay is quite going to be that good. So, for whatever it is worth. All right. Kirk Taylor, good morning. Jason Horn, what shoes did you wear? So I wore some customs that Erica got me. Some black and gold customs, Air Force Ones.
Did you like your shoes?
I did like my shoes. But what haven't shown it to?
Oh, that's your dog.
Someone said, what shoes did you wear last night? And Eric and I were talking. It is very, I told her when we got in the car yesterday to go, I was like, thank God that sneakers are now an acceptable part of fashion where, so last night I didn't have to wear those shiny tuxedo shoes that are massively uncomfortable. I wore sneakers, which are way more stylish and way more comfortable. And Eric was like, I don't want to hear it. Craig Duga, he said, morning, dudes. Good morning. Bubba Tatum, good morning. Black and gold to the wild card. Antron Hemingway, good morning. Let's see, feel like NFL Sunday afternoon game day. Both quarterbacks starting it off. Yep. And unfortunately, Erica scheduled Drew's haircut for noon. So I'll be DVRing the beginning of the game. And then I will be watching it in progress. I'll be watching it in progress. Trivia said, what's up, E-Rock?
Hey, Trivia, good morning.
Have you gotten to Miss Hershey bars yet?
This
Oh, this week. Oh, sure. Heard that for a year and a half. Janet, LSU golfer Stone in the final of women's amateur today. Okay, cool. Very cool. Christian says, hey, Matt, got to thinking, couldn't every college team be independent? And like bowl eligibility, everyone must hit a certain total of wins to make the playoffs. I think it's fair with everyone. So in a sense, Christian, that's what I've said for a long time, is that you're not going to have conferences. You're just going to have college football, which essentially means every school is an independent, operating within the structure of college football. Most of the bowl games, I would assume, go away. Like, you got to stop thinking of it in terms of bowl eligibility. They'll ultimately expand the playoff to 16 teams, and the best 16 teams would make the playoffs. Is basically how it's going to go. I mean, that's, again, I keep saying that like it's happening tomorrow. It's not happening tomorrow. I mean, we're going to get a 12-team playoff with these probably Power 4 leagues, and with the Pac-12 being vanquished. And so they'll probably give the top 5 conference champions an at-large bid, and then or an automatic bid, and the next 7 will be at-large. Probably how they'll adjust it. But eventually we'll get to that inevitability. Chip Kelly even said that last week. Chip Kelly's exact quote was, hang on, I'll read you Chip Kelly's quote. Here you go. Chip Kelly last week said, Notre Dame is an independent in football, but they're in a conference for everything else. Why aren't we all independent for football? Take the 64 teams in the Power 5, make that one division. Take the 64 teams in the Group of 5, make that another division. We play for a championship. They play for a championship, and no one else gets affected. Our sport is different than everybody else. We only play once a week. Travel's not a big deal for football, but it's a big deal for other sports. That's essentially what I'm proposing is going to happen. I don't think it'll be 64 teams. And the Group of 5 will throw a fit about that because they don't want to be separated from the Power 5 because they make their money suckling off the Power 5's teat. But when you start to have head coaches saying it, it's going to become more and more because more and more people will say, dude, it's like, do you remember when in 2016 when Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey opted out of their bowl games? And boy, like, forget it now. A lot of people don't remember this now. Boy, there was a melt. They're not team guys. They're quitters. It's going to affect their draft status. What are you saying, NFL teams, about your commitment, blah, blah. And you know what? It didn't affect their draft status one iota because NFL teams don't give a rip if you play in a bowl game. They would much rather you be healthy for the draft than you'll play in a bowl game and get hurt. They'd much rather you spend that month, the month of December, with combine prep instead of getting ready to play in a bowl game that nobody cares about. And now, there isn't really a stigma around opting out of bowl games. Everybody does it. So, eventually, I guess my point is, things which at one point were taboo become more common, then they become just an accepted part of the culture. And same thing there. So Chip Kelly starts to say it, more and more people start to say it, and you start to understand, oh, well, that's actually a real scenario that could and likely will unfold. Jeremy Weiss, good morning, Matt. Like the Smith addition at linebacker. Still need one more backer and running back, in my opinion. 5-star receiver for Brian Kelly. Yeah, we got to talk about that too. So I disagree, Jeremy. I don't think they need another running back. I think they're set there because I'm sure Dwayne Washington's made the team as a special teamer for a long time. Well, he's a free agent right now. I guess my point is, hang on. The 3 that they've got, right, the 3 primary running backs, they're fine there. They usually would keep an emergency back who's really a special teamer. Let's see. So here you go. The other backs are Ellis Merriweather and Jake Bargas. So Merriweather's a rookie out of UMass Amherst, and Bargas is a second-year player out of North Carolina. So keep an eye on those guys today, too. Yeah, and how about it? LSU lands a 5-star wide receiver for the class of 2025. There's something else I got to talk about, too. LSU lands a 5-star receiver for the class of 2025, DeCorian Moore, who said, he told Shea Dixon, quote, "It's just wide receiver you're wrong if you don't have LSU at the top as a wideout." Wow. That's pretty incredible. So he's out of Duncanville, same place that you just got Caden Durham, the running back, obviously teammates with Colin Simmons. So what a talented group they have. So he's a 5-star, the number 5 player nationally, the number 2 wideout, the number 1 player in the state of Texas. Had offers from everybody, of course. He was a 5-star wide receiver. So to your point about how Brian Kelly can recruit, I would actually flip it and say, hang on one second. I would flip it and say that that's less of a indicator that Brian Kelly can recruit and more of an indicator of the type of athlete that you couldn't recruit at Notre Dame. We went over this the other day about LSU, but because I was looking at quarterbacks. But so I just pulled up Notre Dame's all-time football recruits. Okay, so this is like the highest rated. Again, not ranked. Remember, if you go to like 247, every player has a rating, and like a 1,000 would be like the best you could be. So there's like guys that are 999, 998, 997. You get it, and so on. And my point is with Notre Dame has always been they have a self-imposed glass ceiling because you have to be elite enough academically to get in that school, and they don't make exceptions for athletes. So you're always sort of fighting with one hand tied behind your back. So Jimmy Clausen is the highest rated player. I'm not talking about ranked, because you could be the number 1 ranked player in the country in a season, but your rating is lower than other players who have been the number 1 player in their years. Does that make sense? So Jimmy Clausen is the highest rated player ever at Notre Dame. The number 2 highest rated player was Jayden Smith, who just signed with the Saints. Then Manti Te'o. Sam Young was an offensive tackle in 2006. Aaron Lynch was a defensive end in 2011. Michael Floyd, wide receiver, in 2008. Ishaq Williams was a outside linebacker in 2011. Dane Christ, Mark Lavore, Gunnar Keel, James Aldridge, running back from 2006. You get my point? Like, you get my point, yeah. By contrast, here's LSU's. Leonard Fournette, Russell Shepard, Derek Stingley, Early Doucette, Lyle Collins, Patrick Peterson, Anthony Johnson, Eric Gilbert, Brian Perilou, Ruben Randall, Terrence Tolliver, Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill. You get my point? Dudes that were not only dudes at the college level, went on to play in the NFL level. Craig Lawson, Kevin Tolliver, Harold Perkins, Ben Wilkerson, DeCorian Moore, who just committed yesterday, who's ahead of Terrace Marshall, Xavier Carter, John Emery, Eli Ricks, Michael Clayton, Jarvis Landry. See how far down the list we're at? Jarvis Landry is still a 5-star. Malachi Dupree, 5-star. Lance Hurt, 5-star. Jacoby Stevens, Mason Smith, Kayshon Boutte, all 5-stars. You get the point. Tyron Johnson, Glenn Dorsey. I think you get my point. So, like, that's the difference. It's not that Brian Kelly can't recruit. It's that when you're coaching, this is the point I've tried to make since LSU hired him. And the fellow who covers Notre Dame was like, Brian Kelly won't recruit at the level necessary to win. I'm like, you don't get it. When all you know is Notre Dame, you think that when you look at college football through that prism, you think that's what college football is, and it's not. Your view is distorted because Notre Dame has a self-imposed glass ceiling. Like, is there any greater illustration than what I just said? So, all that to say, like, so as Jeremy pointed out, LSU just got a 5-star receiver yesterday. It turns out Brian Kelly can recruit. Of course he can. It was never that he couldn't recruit. It was that it's impossible to recruit to Notre Dame. At least it's impossible to recruit a roster 1 to 85 that's good enough to compete and beat consistently the best teams in the country. The fact that he got Notre Dame to a college football playoff and to a BCS championship game is indicative of how good of a coach he is. Perkins for Heisman, Matt, who are your top 5 favorite college football commentators? Or football commentators, college or NFL? Are you talking about like in-game, like game analysts? Because honestly, man, I don't consume, I tell you all this, like I don't consume a lot of content. Like I don't watch opinion shows. I don't really care about like I don't know, I say it that way and it sounds bad the way I say it. Like I don't care about other people's opinions, and the way to say that's not that means other people's opinions aren't valid. It just means I'm not going to base my opinion on what someone else says. Like what your opinion is won't frame my opinion is my point. So anyway,
And he just wants to know who you think does a good job.
Thank you, Erica. Okay, TV broadcast. Okay, Al Michaels is still awesome. Mike Tirico is really good. If you're talking play-by-play, I mean, there's a reason these guys are at the top. Joe Buck, it's pretty incredible. Joe Buck not only was a lead guy for NFL, but also for Major League Baseball for as long as he was before he left for ESPN. It's weird because and if I think of like the analysts in the game, it's guys that get so much hate. Like Chris Collinsworth is the best. Like he is the best, but he gets so much hate. But there's just nobody who studies more, who understands the game better, who knows his role in the broadcast, when to get in, when to get out. Like just functionally, there's a reason Collinsworth is the best. So. Aaron Fontaine, good morning, Scone and fellow Sconers. Headed back to reality after a week at the beach with the wife and kid. Morning, Scone. Perfect road trip accompaniment. Glad to have you, Aaron. Y'all drive safely, man. Joey Metke, Darren Gilmore, Merrick Mathern. Y'all smash that like button. Keep hearing Howard's name pop up at Saints camp. Might be that late round draft pick that ends up being a player this year. Oh, not Howard. Jordan Hoden, the safety out of Minnesota. Yeah, I mean, they need safety depth for sure. I mean, JT Gray technically is a safety, but he's a all-pro special teamer. That's why he's going to make the team. Jordan Hoden could definitely make the team as a safety, for sure. Let's see, Merrick Mathern, good morning. Leon Williams, good morning. Hyped it's game day, even if it's preseason. I'll be at the cage with the kid taking BP and pitching, but I recorded it. Strong side, good morning. Trivia, a rare unicorn sighting, Lenny Moss. I'm way behind on comments. Let's see, hot take, Stetson Bennett looked better than Young and Stroud, albeit he was probably behind a better O-line. And it's preseason. Bill Frere, how big was it yesterday getting another player out of Duncanville? Yeah, man. Keep dipping into Texas, man. I'm behind. Jeremy Weiss, interested to see Jay Kaner play. Yep, for sure. See if the camp reports matches play today. Michael Castello, good morning. Austin Kidder, good morning. See, what LSU players do you think relatively unknown to fans are about to have a breakout season? Savion Jones has really stood out defensively. And then offensively, I think we've talked plenty about Kyron Lacey, but he's probably the guy. If not Kyron Lacey, Chris Hilton. Southern Pell, let's see, we're getting old. I remember when rolling an ankle just meant we drank more on Sunday. Devin Johnson, any info on the new construction taking place? Yes, Devin, I did ask. So Devin asked a couple days ago what that construction is. So if you're looking at any of the practice video, you'll see there's a big metal structure going up, coming off of football ops toward the field. It's all like training and recovery. So when guys want to do like cryotherapy or a lot of cold tub therapy or other alternate like treatment like that, they have to go off site to do it. And so that's what Brian Kelly wanted to build out. So they're building it out for him. So it's going to be all expanded training room, training tables, and then all that recovery equipment stuff is what that's going to be. Leon Williams getting the kid from D-ville was a great pickup. 2 skill position players from a 6A powerhouse may open the floodgates. Lots of LSU Saints here in DFW. Excellent. Zach Hardy, Eli Ricks with a pick 6 last night. That's cool. Good for him, man. I've told y'all before. Good kid. Think the world of him and his family. He made a decision he felt was best for him. Tried to play through a bunch of injuries. I think the injuries certainly, will tell you all the time about the combine. It's the interviews and the physical. But his shoulder, dude, kid's had multiple shoulder surgeries. Like, he's a talented player. We all saw it. But he had legit shoulder injuries, and it cost him. So hopefully he can get healthy and go have a really good NFL, make a team have a really good NFL career. Joseph Feltwell is the preseason make or break for Jimmy. Practice is one thing, showing the game setting is a must. Jimmy Graham, I guess. You know what? I guess, Joseph, it kind of depends on how much he plays. That'll be a real indicator, right? If Jimmy Graham is out there with the first team offense in the first series, then he's on the bench the rest of the game. It's a pretty good indicator he's going to make the team.
He
But
hasn't made the team yet.
Huh?
He hadn't made the team.
Who? Jimmy Graham?
I'm sure he's gonna make it. Like the Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, the one that's 36 years old and didn't play football last year?
Yeah, he made the team. I'm sure, Matt. Do you think he's got a chance to not make it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Matt. What do you want to bet?
Nothing, because it's nothing that I can control.
Because he's gonna make it.
I think there's a good chance he makes the team, but I think there's also a chance they don't keep a 4th tight end. He could go out and stink.
He's so good.
Tom Grandi, good morning. Lenny Moss said, I hope Brock is as great as E-Rock.
Aww.
We're doing great. Kids are back in school, and our Natchez building renovation is complete.
Is he hurt or something?
He stepped off a curb yesterday, so he's going to Brock.
Oh.
By the way, if you're going to be a peanut gallery over there, nobody can hear you.
I'm not being a peanut gallery.
Yeah, you are. That's twice now that you've been.
I'm late.
Aaron Hornsby, Dale Broussard, long time away from signing day for 2025 kids. Yeah, true. Brandon Stewart. Crank it up, Scone. Saw Brandon last night at Best Dress Ball. And he was sure to remind me that when he sees Crank It Up, Scone, that's him doing it in the comments. So Crank It Up, Scone is a reference to a bit that Condon used to do. And actually, Brandon. So you remember the SWAC MEAC sloppy football update from when Condon would do it on the Score 1210. That bit actually started in 2003 when I was producing for Richard Condon at WIBR, 1300 AM. That was a news talk station, and they moved Condon into the midday. And I was producing for Condon and for Ed Buggs. Well, Kevin Neely was producing for Condon, but some days I would produce for Condon. And that bit started then. Bring it up, Scone. And then he carried it over to 1210. But yes, I will accept that if you are a 1210 listener that you're still an OG. But if you are a 1300 AM WIBR listener, you are a unicorn, is what you are. If you remember me being on 1300 AM WIBR, then you are a true unicorn in a sense of someone who actually remembered my actual genesis in radio. Great up, Scone. It was good to see you last night, man. Dale Broussard has Coach Lindsey's medical issue been publicly released? No, it is not. Jason Horn says, we can hear E-Rock. Okay. Yeah, but you're kind of like off camera a lot. And you're off mic. You're way far away. Let's see. Joel Sanchez, GameCoin AMA update. So I did talk, Joel, I tell you what, if you have questions, let me know. I had lunch I told you this last Friday with David and with another board member. I actually got to see them last night too. The game. So David was one of the guys that walked in best dress ball, and our CTO, the Chief Technology Officer, who was on a previous AMA, Fred Lena, came. Who lives in Las Vegas. He came in last night to support David for best dress. It was cool. We got to talk for a little bit as well last night. But trying to decide if we want to do AMA or what's more likely is we'll probably just start releasing pictures and graphics and bits of info about the platform as they're ready and we feel able. But if you have specific questions, feel free to fire away. Jeremy Weiss, can't Taysom be an emergency running back as well as a quarterback? Sure. And he's also listed as a tight end, and I know. Don Juan, what's going on? Man, if LSU can keep Carry-On Moore and get Bryce Underwood and Harlan Berry, that would be the best offensive trio in LSU recruiting history. I'll take your word for it. Ryan Pike, two things I noticed yesterday. Eli Riggs had a pick six. They pronounced Damon Clark. Damone Clark, by the way, trains and traction. Got to work out with Damone. Well, I was going to say I work out with Damone Clark. He and I were working out at the same time together. How about that? At Traction. He is huge, too. Looks good. Jason Mobile, good morning. Austin Kidder, same people criticizing kids for opting out of bowl games will be the first to opt out of work if their paychecks stopped coming. Fair. Yeah, I've said it a bajillion times. I have no problem with kids opting out of bowl games. Brandon Chasson, where do you think Jarvis Landry will sign and be a good fit? I know he had a down year. I think he'd still help a team. Yeah, and Brandon, he had a down year really because he. Can you turn that down, please?
Hold on a sec. I'm ironing them. Give me 1 second. We don't have an ironing board, so I don't know.
Why don't we have an ironing board?
Because it drowned in the flood. And I forgot to get a new one.
It drowned in the flood.
I never got a new one.
When Erica flooded our entire laundry room by leaving the sink on for all night. No, you're not.
All you need is hard Call Hardcore Roofing. 364 1007.
Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. All right, Randall Offrecht. Morning, Matt. What do you think Dennis Allen and Derek Carr's ceiling is with the Saints? I think they could win the division this year, make the playoffs. LaShawna, the Teo doc, made me feel bad for ever making fun of him. No doubt, dude was catfished. Philip Thomas, good morning, Matt. Your streaming graphic looks very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I like it. Very cool. The thumbnail? Damon Gilmore. That ND guy still cracks me up. I watched that interview again the other day. James Brew, how would the TV contracts work with a single league of 64 teams? You would just, the same way it works in the NFL, where the NFL has TV contracts with Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN, and then it's divvied up evenly among the teams. But it wouldn't be 64 teams. Like Kansas, Oregon State, Washington State, Rutgers, Indiana, like those teams aren't going to be invited. Go Tigers says how many weekends before football? LSU's playing in 2 weekends. No, I'm sorry, 3 weekends. You've got not next weekend. No, I'm sorry, wait. Yeah, no, not next weekend, but the following is week 0. So 2 weeks from yesterday is week 0. 3 weeks from today, LSU plays. Hunter Picard, Jude McLaren, go Tigers, good morning. Let's see, trivia, is that the infamous house phone ringing in the background? No. Oh, yes, actually it was the house phone ringing. She was talking to her mom, I think, a bit ago. Merrick Bethurn, ask E-Rock, is she excited football is back? She's helping Drew with something right now. I'll come back to it. Raymond, hey Matt, my main frustration with Jayden last year was taking too many sacks, pocket presence, and reading defenses. Do you see improvement from what you've seen at fall camp? So I actually flatly disagree with you on all 3 things. Strong Side said, ask E-Rock, are you excited about... Raymond, the offensive line last year was really bad for most of the season. If he had forced balls and thrown interceptions, your comment would be, my main frustration with Jayden last year was he threw too many interceptions. You have to accept what the offense was a season ago. The offensive coordinator this week said that times last year they were in survival mode. His word, not mine. Survival mode. And I think there's also, and Raymond, this isn't to pick on you, I promise, but I think there's also a general lack of understanding of all fans. Watching a game, me included, like all of us, because we don't know what play was called. So sometimes something good can happen or something bad can happen, but you don't know what the actual play call was. Like let's say there's a low snap and then you have to make something out of it. Or let's say Jayden takes the snap out of a shotgun and a free blitzer is coming and he just has to take off running. We don't know what the play was. We don't know what play was called. There might have been a receiver open. It might have been the perfect play call, but you never got to see it because the play was busted from the onset. So that's why sometimes it's hard to say that. If you had a frustration with Jayden Daniels last year, that's a you problem. I'm not going to tell you he was flawless, but in an offense where your line stunk, you had a true freshman tight end who was undersized, your all-everything wide receiver battled some injuries and was a little out of shape and really didn't have a great year, and Kayshawn, obviously. You never had a bell cow back emerge, and you still average 35 a game. You know, the other thing I'll tell you, too, is, you know, like, you could watch Nussmeier in the second half of the SEC championship game and think, man, he played well. Suffice to say, I was told, as far as his action, to your point, his reads, like making the proper reads on a defense, let's say he didn't grade out. He didn't grade out great in that game. But again, Raymond, what that illustrates is like we don't know the play call and what the expectation is. So I understand your question, but I also think that's just part of the fan echo chamber that I talk about all the time, where fans convince themselves of a narrative. It was like with the bullpen this year with baseball. Fans convince themselves of a narrative of a player, a position group, or something like that. And then that's just what they've accepted as their truth. And anytime they see evidence to support that, they magnify it and they ignore evidence to the contrary. And I think a lot of LSU fans have done that with Jayden Daniels. Similarly with Garrett Nussmeier. You'll point out, like in the SC championship game, a really nice throw, but you'll ignore the interceptions. Not you, just plural you. Raleigh Charpentier, morning Scone. Watching in London. Hoping they run Miller early and often against Chiefs number ones. I got a feeling he might have a Ruben Mays type rookie season. How about that pull? Ruben Mays. Good for you, Raleigh. Would love to see that. But yeah, I think we will see Kendre Miller. You know, it's worth noting Kendre Miller in his career. You know, last year he had 200 carries at TCU. That's the most workload he's ever had in his career. So, you know, how much they rely on him will be interesting. Go Tigers. Let's see. Did y'all complain about the nets all the way around the field? Like the baseball field? Joey Metke, Matt, quick question for you. With moving back to Louisiana, does the roof have to be fortified roof? Keep hearing you mention it. Curious about it. Thank you. So, Joey, there is not a law mandating fortified. The state legislature did pass legislation about with fortified that allows discounts and grants for fortified roofs. So you can apply. Again, the state has not put definition behind this yet, so it's important to note that if you do change your roof, okay, and you do a fortified roof, that you still have to be approved for that grant through the state, and they haven't started paying that money out yet. So it's important to know, but when you have a contractor come to your house, whether it's HUDCO or whoever, and you ask about fortified, just make sure that that person is transparent with you about your fortified roof. But the point of a fortified roof is insurance companies will give you a discount up to, depending on the insurance company, up to 52% of your homeowner's insurance if you have a fortified roof. Because the objective is not, you could still have wind damage that could blow shingles, but a fortified roof essentially provides an extra layer of protection under the shingles and the decking to prevent water intrusion. So if you do lose shingles or have that type of damage, you don't have water penetration, because insurance companies will tell you replacing shingles isn't the problem. Like, the real costly issue becomes when you have water in the house, because now you're cutting sheetrock, you're replacing TVs, furniture, carpet. Like, when you have to start to replace the contents of the home as well, that's when you start to get like really, really costly. And then it's obviously really, it's a giant hassle for the homeowner as well. So that's the benefit of a fortified roof. So definitely, if you're getting your roof replaced, ask about fortified roofing. And look, HUDCO was literally the first roofing company in the state of Louisiana to be certified in fortified roofing. So, love to help you out. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Let's see, how do you feel about putting nets around the football field to keep fans safe? Who's putting nets around the football field? Brendan Huff, love seeing LSU bring back former players to camp. Chad Jones, Corey Webster. Yeah, that's that's something that's pretty common, you know, when former players come back. The thing is, Ed had like an open door policy. Any former player could show up anytime, whenever they wanted. Brian has closed things off, but where you got to request, you know, if you want to come to camp and all, you got to request. But yes, but having those guys around is a good thing. Merrick Mathern, Coach E-Rock has spoken. Get that lady a Jimmy Graham jersey. If E-Rock says he's going to make the team, then you better just sit there. She knows. Yeah. Is this morning E-Rock now? Joseph Feltwell, you sure reminds me of the birthday party game I played as a kid. It was called Pin the Tail on the Donkey. This is from halftime of the LSU-Alabama game in 2019. With that flurry of scoring right before half, Jordy and I were doing halftime whiskey and wine. And I got right up in the camera and I was going, "Here comes 60, straight up your donkey." And somebody made this shirt and sent it to me. It still exists on Facebook if you want to try to find it. WIBR was Woody Jenkins' station. Not whenever I was on it. It was owned by Citadel Broadcasting. Did you invite the Terriers to Best Dress Ball? I was invited by Brandon and Adrian Holly of Relief Windows. So, no, I did not invite the Terriers because I myself was an invitee. So, Michael Baskerville got a lot of playing time yesterday. Excellent. Austin Kidder, Erica doesn't see 36 as old for the NFL because Matt is still in NFL shape at 41. Jeez. Man, I can barely walk to the mailbox, bro. Antron, let's see, Matt. Jabril and Damone did good last night. Got a little more work to do this week. They both said, both are LSU guys doing real good for the boys. Yeah, man. Jabril Cox was a nice surprise a year ago. Damone Clark, remember, had the neck injury. It's caused him to drop in the draft, and he overcame that, got on the field last year and played really well. So got big hopes for Damone Clark this year. Never mind us, E-Rock. Just trying to do a show. Enjoy your Sunday. Better be careful, Jason. She knows how to find you. Randall, Matt, I forgot to ask yesterday where LSU's receivers getting separation in camp. I did not go to practice yesterday. Remember, so yesterday morning was media availability. It's the first availability I did not make. And then Matt House spoke to reporters after. So I missed yesterday. I was on dad duty. But Thursday was our previous availability. And Thursday was the first day it was the first day in full pads. And I will tell you, it was the first day that the defense won the day. The defense had a great day on Thursday. How long do you expect Michael Thomas to play today? As long as the first offense plays. I mean, I think if they go down the field and score in the first series, then I think all the starters come out. Brennan Huff, Sam Burns with a hole-in-one yesterday. Landed straight in the cup. No kidding. So he swished it, huh? That's awesome. Good for him. Brian Broom, Ty Flyer. Y'all think we're done? I think we're done. Appreciate y'all watching. As always, do me a favor. YouTube, smash the like button if you haven't done so yet. 146 watching live. Only 34 likes. I know we can do better. So smash that like button if you would. If you're new, subscribe up to the channel on the Matt Moscona YouTube channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Brought to you by Brock. Need North Piece, go to Brock, like Lenny Moss is going today because he stepped off a curb and rolled his ankle. And Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Would love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. As always, ProCharge EV and RestoredMotions.com. Learn more electric vehicle chargers for your home or office building. ProChargeEV.com. And of course, Restored Motions. I need to go see Crystal Poche. It's about that time, y'all. Went and saw her before SEC Media Day, so it's been several weeks. It's about that time. In a minute, I'm gonna need a sentimental woman to pump me up. In a minute. You don't know the song anyway. Okay. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great Sunday. Who dat? We'll see y'all. Peace.